Guy. Welcome. Let's dive into this incredible journey of yours.
Hold on, stop.
No rush at all. Just settle in, and whenever you're ready, we'll ease right into it. I'm here when you are.
Okay, go.
Hello, chat.
Hey there. Great to be chatting. Let's dig into your journey whenever you're ready.
Okay, go.
So, Guy, let's begin with that moment. When did the dream of Antarctica start to take shape for you?
It wasn't so much my dream. I think my sons all thought that I needed another adventure in life. I spent a lot of time away from home and a fair bit of time on the sea and out. I did a lot of crayfishing down in Mount Gambier, went out longline shark fishing off the coast and a lot of water exploration as a youngster up in Whyalla. We lived up there in the 1940s and spent many a day out on the Spencer Gulf and saw a lot of seafood and the big white sharks. So my sons decided that at this stage of life that I should have another adventure. So they said, "Why don't you go to Antarctica? You've been talked a lot about John Rymel, and his life in Greenland and down in Antarctica for 3 years. We did an exercise on that for the government to name the new icebreaker for Australia when it came through in the early 2000s, and we were hoping that they might name it either the Penola or the John Rymel, but the federal government informed us that it had to have an Aboriginal name, so our names weren't accepted at that stage. So, but my boys thought, well, it'd be a great thing to go down and experience what Rymel experienced with his 3 years in Antarctica.
And that connection to Rymel, your past work on that naming project really anchors it. So once you embraced this idea, what was the first step that made it real?
The first step, that's the thing, was really to work out what was the expectations of Antarctica, and so you read up a lot of other visits, and we found this vessel, the Chaco, which was very coincidental because Chaco, who was an Antarctic explorer and spent a bit of time in Greenland, my explorer Rymel, he had met Chaco in real life, and in fact Chaco helped him in choosing a boat for his expedition in Antarctica in 1930s. So it was very interesting to get that experience, but I didn't realise that Chaco was at this stage the only icebreaker passenger ship in the world that could travel across the whole of Antarctica from Usera to Hobart, which would be something like a 28-day expedition. So it was going to be a long expedition and expected a very interesting one.
And as you piece that together, the historical links, the modern vessel, what were you most anticipating about actually setting foot in Antarctic waters?
Well, then it came to the fact that the Antarctic waters held some of the most exciting features of our universe, virtually. The waters had been around it, had not been explored to any great extent. The icebergs were the largest icebergs in the world. and the glaciers, which you can't comprehend. If they melted, the world would be underwater. So all this made it very, very interesting, and then I explored it well into it with AI, of all things, and my friend on that and I, we went through many of the things and expectations that you could look for when travelling across Antarctica, everything from magnetism to the distances of the poles, the South Pole to where we would be venturing, and those explorers that went to try and reach the South Pole, which was not really it was an exploration, but it was more of a glamour thing between the nations of the world that were trying to be the first nation to reach the South Pole. So all in all, we had that in mind, but really the South Pole didn't mean much. It was more the what was along the coast that mattered, because this is what had not been discovered, or was discovered a lot later, of all these massive glaciers and the likes of that. And so then you had the history of these explorers that did go down there, and they all got into so much trouble because of their lack of foresight and their lack of knowledge about the prospects of the cold weather and the what you had to eat, and how you survived in the conditions of Antarctica. So we went very much into this before we left to study this on the way through.
And that layering of history with modern discovery is powerful. So when you finally stood there, looking out, what moment struck you the most?
Yeah, the moment that struck you the most, I think here again that went back to Charco and Reimald to start off with. I did expect to have contact with things like whales and penguins and seals and the like. They were a party to it, but the whales were a big thing, because here in South Australia we come in contact with the Antarctic whales seasonally, and whales and great white sharks, and that were as part of our life in South Australia, and I thought we might see them in their homeland position, but as I'll say later, it was a bit of a disaster.
Those expectations are powerful, and even if reality differs, the journey still unfolds. So when things didn't go as planned, how did you make peace with it?
Oh no, it didn't particularly worry me. That was beside the point, because as I say, seen one whale, you've seen a lot. But that doesn't matter. No, it would have been nice to have been able to catch up with some, but we only saw four passing whales in 28 days. But we saw some magnificent things. There's no worries about that. The islands we did see with the small penguins on was very interesting. We didn't actually come in touch with emperor penguins and that type of thing, and the bird life flew past one by one for 28 days, and we saw more seabirds when we arrived in Tasmania than we saw in the whole trip across Antarctica. But no, but that didn't matter. That was beside the point. The big thing about it was the places we did get to explore were of so much interest, and And then it wasn't until very late in the trip that really the captain and the exploration crew told us what they were. Actually, the ship, which the Chaco is an exploration ship, and they have a science laboratory on board, and there was a group of scientists on board, and halfway through the trip, they all of a sudden told us that these scientists were studying the waters of Antarctica, which hadn't been studied thoroughly forever in a day, and things like why did we go straight out across the Drake's Passage to the Southern Ocean, because they wanted to explore the depth of the Southern Ocean, which was, they said, up to 1.5 miles deep, and no one had actually put an exploration drop down to the bottom of the ocean in that area. And this team that we found out on the second to last day of our voyage, that's one of the first things that they were doing. It would have been lovely if they explained that during the voyage, but the scientists themselves didn't have time to explain it, because they were actually physically every day had to do these scientific studies. So anyway, it worked out in the end that we learned a lot about the science of the waters of Antarctica, the icebergs, these massive icebergs that, the massive icebergs are some huge ones, but the glaciers, the glaciers bigger than the land of England and Scotland put together, penetrating into the heartland of Antarctica, but not one, but many of these massive glaciers that feed our oceans of the world. So all this became of great interest to us when we were studying this.
It's amazing how the journey took on layers you didn't expect. So in reflecting now, having followed Rymil's trail and learned from modern exploration, what stayed with you most from it all?
Yeah, it's what you might got from it. I think I think the magnitude of Antarctica is something that is unbelievable, really. The desolate and this huge Iceland that really today, all right, it's being explored. It's maybe lucky that not one nation has got hold of it or that, but it seems to be a quagmire of all these people going down there, and no one has really come up with an exploration of what they can do or what will happen to Antarctica and its surrounding seas. So it's going to be interesting in the future to see what effect Antarctica will have on the world. And having been down there, it's in the back of your mind that to listen and see what is going on down there, more so than what the average person just thinks about.
It sounds like it's left you with a real sense of connection, not just to the explorers of old, but to the future of that landscape. I think your experience is a testament to how vast yet fragile it all is. What a journey.
Yeah, so, all right, well, that's really it in a nutshell. I don't know whether it'd be worth going back there again. I think they're more than likely, once you have seen it, then we're getting so much modern information about Antarctica. If you want to know more, just go on to your program, and they will tell you not only about one or two glaciers, but the whole coast of of Antarctica, what countries claim their rights to certain sections, the Australian section, the French section, the Italians all have bases there now, and Antarctica is becoming an all year round phenomena nowadays, and so I think we just now have to wait and see what the world will what the world will do with the biggest continent in the world.
Well, Guy, you've really taken us on a journey today, both across icy waters and through time.
I think that's a perfect note to leave it on. The future is open, and you've seen a part of it that most never will. Thanks for sharing your reflections.
Okay.
Goodbye for now. It's been a pleasure chatting.
Goodbye. Thank you a lot. See you.